Good evening and welcome to a very special evening of Jewish Identity and Heritage, our children, our history, our future. We have some very special people in the audience today that I wanted to recognize. Of course, Rabbi Miller, President of Great Neck Synagogue, Eli Cohen, his lovely wife and the powerhouse of North Shore Hebrew Academy, Laura Cohen. We'll be hearing from him a little bit later, but please, a big round of applause for our County Executive, Bruce Blakeman. And in no particular order, ladies and gentlemen, I see if any of you have a parking ticket, you can go see David Kirsch for the Village of Great Neck in the back. Our trustee, Annie Mendelson, I saw her walking here. Annie, where are you? Town Clerk Ragni Srivastava is here from the town of North Hempstead. Our great town supervisor, Jen DeSena. Supervisor DeSena. She's not taking checks tonight, but you can talk to her a little bit later on. The receiver of taxes, Mary Jo Collins. Our Assemblyman, Dan Norber, who's a very frequent flyer at Great Neck Synagogue. I see there was... I'm getting to her. Trust me. He always has your back. The mayor of the Village of Great Neck, Dr. Pedram Brawl. Our fabulous county controller and former state senator, Elaine Phillips, is here. A person who needs no introduction to this community, Michael Shakui, the president of SHI. All those great concerts and the beautiful things we have at our park district, Vanessa Tamori, our parks commissioner. And it's been a breath of fresh air on our library board. Chaim, our trustee, stand up. Let people know who you are. Thank you, Chaim. And right now, I don't think I see anybody else in the room. Oh, wait a minute. We have a representative from State Senator Jack Martins. Please. Avi Posnick, stand with us. Thank you for being here. And a person who's done absolutely tremendous work with AIPAC. He's really on the front lines of Judaism, Israel, and a lot of things that happen, not just in Great Neck, but in our country, and somebody that a lot of us really go to for advice and things, and that's Meiran Hakimi. Obviously, our special guests are going to be, wait a minute, I'm going to get in trouble, our county legislator, Mazi Pillow. The rest of our guests are going to be introduced tonight. We have some of these individuals I introduced will be speaking, but to start off this evening, an absolutely fabulous individual, Hazan Yitzi Spinner, please come on up and to start this program.
I'll ask you all to please rise for the national anthem, both Star Spangled Banner and Hatikva, followed by a prayer for the Defense Forces of Israel. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Lord, Nefesh Yehuda ציון סופיה עולם תקוותנו התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב הוא יברך את חיילי צהגנה לישראל העומדים על משמר ארצנו והרי אלוהינו מגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה ביבשה מעביר ובים הוא יברך את חיילי צהגנה לישראל ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו ניגפים לפניהם הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור יציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשיהם ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם יתרים לכתר ישועה ובעטרת ניצחון ויקוים בהם הכתוב כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם להושיע אתכם ונאמר
Thank you. I'd like to also acknowledge that we have some other people in the audience that I neglected to mention. Dr. Brody is in the audience, and I would like to mention Liz Burney. Where are you, Liz? Liz, I'm told Liz Burney. Okay, and last but not least, we'd also like to thank all the men and women of the Nassau County Police that were outside both places. Our first speaker tonight needs absolutely no introduction. He's a real trailblazer in the village of Great Neck. He leads by example. He's probably one of the nicest, most kind, generous, giving individuals I know. And he doesn't suffer any nonsense, but he listens. And that's why he's so very well beloved in Great Neck. And that's Dr. Mayor Pedram Brawl.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Scott. I wanted to also mention Yehuda Golche, who really was instrumental. He really went out of his way to really try to put this program together. distinguished guests, esteemed leaders, and beloved members of the community, we stand here today at a pivotal moment in our history, in a Jewish history, a moment that calls upon us only to remember the past, not only to remember the past, but to take action to secure the future for our generation and for our children. The challenges we're facing today as a Jewish nation are unique, and they demand a response grounded in truth, strength, and unwavering commitment to Israel and to Jewish heritage. For centuries, anti-Semitism has mutated, taking on new forms in each generation. What was once blatant discrimination, expulsion, and violence has cloaked itself in rhetoric of anti-Zionism. Today, in our universities, media outlets, and political spheres have been infiltrated by dangerous propaganda war against Israel, and in turn, against the Jews. One that seeks to delegitimize our very right to exist, not only here in Israel, but in Europe and in America. But let me be very clear. Zionism is not a movement of oppression. Zionism is a movement of liberation. A movement that has been a major part of the Jewish entity for the past 3,000 years. The word Zion has been mentioned 152 times in Tanakh. And what they're teaching in universities and in colleges, that Zionism is a new word, is a false narrative. The Jewish people have always and will always have their homeland in Israel. From the time of Abraham to the establishment of the modern Jewish state Israel in 1948, Israel has been in our heart, it's been our history, and it will be our future. The Jews have never colonized any land in their history, but in contrast, the Arabs have. If you look at the maps of the world in 540 East CE, the Arab existed only in the Arab Peninsula. Today, they have colonized the entire northern Africa, and everyone speaks the language of Arabic. In 1897, the first Zionist Congress was held in Switzerland to secure a nation homeland for the Jewish people. Today, we have the chairman of World Zionist Organization, the Honorable Yaakov Hagoel, who will speak to us later on today. For 50 years after the introduction of World Jewish Organization, the Jews around the world got together, helped finance the Brits to fight the First World War, to defeat the Ottomans in return for a promise for their land in Israel. It wasn't only Jews, but the Arabs who did the same. Sharif Hussein bin Ali, the leader of the Arabs in the Saudi Arabia at that time, also helped the Brits to win the war. And in return, he asked the British to give his two sons, Iraq and Jordan. King Faisal was the first king of Iraq who did not even speak the same Arabic dialect as the Arabs in Iraq. And King Abdullah was the first Hashemite king in Palestine at that time, ruling over the Palestinians. The Jews continued to fight, migrated and built their homeland in the land of Israel when it was empty and it was once the land that was ridden with malaria and was swamped. They worked with their bare hand, with their sweat and blood to build the country, knowing darn well that the horrors of anti-Semitism in Europe and the pogroms in Russia will never end unless they have their own homeland again in the land of Israel. The road to establishment of Israel was paved with immense struggle. the fall of Ottoman Empire, the Balfour Declaration, the British Mandate, and the League of the Nations all set the stage for what was rightfully ours. Yet, time again, the Jews and the Jewish people were forced to fight. Immediately after acceptance of the United Nations Resolution of 181, the Arab nation attacked the newly born Jewish state of Israel. Many wars happened after that. 1948, 1967, and 1973 are the largest and the main wars that Israel fought against the Arab people and their neighbors. This was not a war that they started to liberate the Arabs. It was a war that they started to annihilate the Jews in Israel. Today, these attacks continue. They don't stop attacking by rockets. Now they have the attacks by lies and propaganda. Lies that claim Israel was created because of Holocaust, and not that Holocaust was created because there was no state of Israel. Lies that rewrite the history and erase the Jewish indigeneity of the land and paint the oppressor as victims. On October 7, 2023, we witnessed the most brutal attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Babies were murdered, families slaughtered and burned alive, women raped. Act of inhuman savagery streamed live for the world to see by these barbarians. October 7th was not a military operation as the media would like to call it. It was a massacre, a pogrom, and our new Holocaust. Yet even as the bodies of our people were still warm, the world turned against us. The same universities that teach Holocaust studies refuse to condemn Hamas. The same institutions that claim to stand for human rights justified the killing of the Jews. The same media outlet that claimed to seek the truth repeated Hamas propaganda without questioning the truth. This is why educating our children is of the most important, and it is our powerful weapon. We cannot send our children to the world filled with false narratives and anti-Semitic propaganda unarmed. They must know who they are and where they come from. Why Israel is the legitimate state for the Jews, not because it is our heritage, and not only because it is our heritage, because we have the legal ownership of it since 1948. They need to know that what they're fighting for and how to fight it. We must teach them that the name Syria Palestina was a name given to Judea by the Romans only 1800 years ago to attempt to erase the Jewish identity of Judea. That there was never a Palestinian state, nor a Palestinian king, nor a unique Palestinian culture before the modern political construct was created to delegitimize the state of Israel. What is called the Palestine and the Palestinians today were simply called Arabs before 1960s. They must know that no Arab countries accepted the legitimacy of the Palestinian nation until the late 1960s, when the Arabs lost the Six-Day War. And none of them pushed for the creation of the Palestinian state until after they lost the Yom Kippur War. And that is the reason the Palestinians are there. The reason is nothing but an attempt to delegitimize the state of Israel, an attempt to annihilate it. The wars that waged against Israel were not wars of liberation, but as I said before, they were all wars of annihilation. They must know that when people chant from river to the sea, they are calling for eradication of every Jew in Israel and possibly in Europe and in America. They must understand that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, because denying the Jewish people the right of self-determination while demanding it for every other group is nothing but bigotry. They must know that Jerusalem is the undivided capital of Israel, and it will be the undivided capital of Israel, and His Excellency Mayor Moshe Leon is here with us and will address the meeting. Our children must be proud to stand up for Israel, proud to challenge lies with truth, proud to walk onto their college campuses knowing they carry with them the weight of Jewish history and the responsibility to defend it. I stand here today not to just speak, but to urge for action. Action from every community leader and every educator in this room. I implore you, integrate recent Jewish history into your curriculum, not just in Jewish schools, but in public schools as well. Let our children read about the San Remo Resolution, the League of the Nations, and the Balfour Declarations, and the life of the people in the first, second, and the third Aliyah. How they worked so hard to create a country which is today. Teach them about the life of Menachem Begin. Encourage them to read books like Palestinian Delusion by Robert Spencer, The Prime Ministers by Yehuda Avner, Israel by Daniel Gordis, and many more. Maybe even books written by Rashid Khalidi, who is a pro-Palestinian, and I have read a few of his books. And if you read between the lines, you can understand that even according to him, the Palestinians are not legitimate nation. To the parents, talk to your children, prepare them, make sure they know that that the Jewish history is their strength, not their burden. Let them know that it was the Torah that kept the Jews alive in the diaspora for 2,000 years. That it wasn't the land alone, but it was the Torah that we learned and we taught our kids. To the leaders of the community, this is our responsibility. The world will not fight this battle for us. On the contrary, they're fighting it and they're fighting against us. The universities that are being paid by Qatar and other Arab countries will not protect our students. The media will not tell our story. We must do it ourselves. We are not just here to survive. The Jews are here to thrive. Israel is not just our refuge. It is our destiny. Our past is written in the stones of Jerusalem and can be found in the depth of the earth with the archaeological finds. And our future will be written by what we do here today. Let us rise to the occasion. Let us educate, let us empower, and let us inspire. And let us stand together proud and unwavering in our love for Israel. And let us say it loud and clear to the world to hear. Am Israel Chai.
And I'd like to invite to the podium, for the purposes of an introduction, the Executive Director of North Shore Hebrew Academy, Great Neck Zone, Laura Cohen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Brawl, for all you do on behalf of the Village of Great Neck and the entire Jewish community. Thank you. North Shore Hebrew Academy is celebrating its 7th year of being a modern Orthodox and Zionist yeshiva. We educate 1,200 students in grades toddler through 12th grade across 4 campuses in Great Neck. North Shore Hebrew Academy recognizes that yeshiva education truly is the cornerstone of Jewish identity and Jewish resilience. Our mission is to cultivate a love of learning and lifelong learners who view Torah as the foundation for their lives and Yisrael as our homeland and the homeland for all of our children. After the tragedy of October 7th and the rising tide of anti-Semitism across the globe, we as a school recognized that we had to do more to ensure that our students graduate prepared to take on the modern world as proud and vocal Jews. Under the visionary leadership of our Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Dr. Jeffrey Kobrin, our Judaic Studies team has been driven to ensure that the students that graduate North Shore Hebrew Academy graduate not only with deep knowledge, but with a deep sense of purpose. Rabbi Avi Miller, our Judaic Studies principal of our high school, has reimagined how we look at yeshiva education. And I'm proud to call upon Rabbi Avi Miller to discuss the new and innovative Judaic Studies program at North Shore Hebrew Academy. Rabbi Miller.
Thank you, Laura. It is an honor to be here tonight with all of you and with all of the esteemed leaders who are here with us near and far. In a striking exchange that was recorded in the Talmud, God asks Abraham, Mary mentioned Abraham, God tells Abraham that a magnificent temple will one day stand on the mountain where he nearly sacrificed his son. But then God says that there's going to be a time where Jerusalem will fall and that temple will be destroyed. And shaken to his core, Abraham turns to God and asks, how will my descendants endure such destruction and devastation? But God reassures him. As long as they study the sacrificial rites, as long as they learn, as long as they remember, it will be as if they had actually sacrificed those sacrifices themselves. Their study will sustain them. And to me, this exchange reflects the truth that Jewish survival hinges on education. It is an act of resistance against erasure. It is an act of rebuilding when so much feels broken. In the wake of October 7th, North Shore Hebrew Academy has deepened its approach to Israel education, not just by teaching more, but by teaching with greater depth and impact. As a yeshiva day school, Israel education spans general history and religious tradition, blending formal instruction with immersive experiences. It is rigorously intellectual, but it is also deeply personal. And this evening, I'd just like to focus on 5 core themes shaping our approach. Number 1, resisting simplistic narratives. At North Shore, we refuse to reduce Israel to a single meta-narrative, one political perspective, one historical lens. Israel's just too complex, and our students deserve an education that reflects that complexity. We challenge them to wrestle with contradictions and engage critically and develop nuanced understandings of Israel's triumphs and challenges. Take last year's high school Yom Iyun, our day of learning for Israel's Independence Day. Students delved into complex issues like navigating the Jewish and democratic character of the State of Israel, the settler movement and its controversies, and the evolving role of U.S. policy. Our students didn't just listen to prepackaged narratives. They questioned, they analyzed, drawing on primary historical texts and first-hand accounts from soldiers and politicians and innovators. Crafting space for critical thinking extends across our new curriculum, including our revamped Middle East history and politics course, now a senior year requirement. But the point is, we do not indoctrinate, we empower. And now this work starts very early. In our lower school, students build a strong foundation of Israeli history. They study the history of Zionism through Herzl, Achad Ha'am, Jabotinsky, and others. They explore Jewish immigration under Ottoman and British rule, the Balfour Declaration, the British Mandate, the UN, the Partition Plan, the War of Independence. They examine the major conflicts, 56, 67, 73, Lebanon, Gaza, alongside the peace process, including Camp David and Oslo. They learn about border disputes, UN resolutions, regional diplomacy shaping Israel today. In middle school, there's a weekly Israel news update that keeps students engaged with current events. But core principle number 1 at North Shore, especially when they get to the high school, is that we do not hand students a single interpretation of Israel. Instead, we equip them with knowledge and tools to think critically and form their own informed opinions. Their connection to Israel isn't built on cheap slogans, but on deep understanding and critical debate. Number 2, teaching ethics, morality, and advocacy. When headlines accuse Israel of war crimes, we see a teachable moment. Students learn to critically assess these claims. whether it's with international law, just war theory, and even our own Jewish legal perspectives. We push students to confront the ethical dilemmas of war, guided by faculty across departments and disciplines, including history and politics, Jewish law and philosophy, team teaching, integrated curricular lessons. Students engage with real questions that are shaping Israel policy today, but always with a foundational recognition that Israel has the right to exist and defend itself, and that terrorism is not resistance. It is the deliberate targeting of innocent lives. It is important that we push students to wrestle with complexity while also maintaining moral clarity. We teach them to reject these false moral equivalencies, understanding the difference between a democratic state bound by law and terrorist organizations that target civilians as a strategy of war. We also ensure that topics like hostage negotiations aren't just an academic or ethical discussion. We engage our students both in mind and heart. Some of our most powerful assemblies in school have been moments of bearing witness, embracing freed hostages, crying with them as they share their unimaginable experiences. And we also take to the streets, rallying on Long Island, standing shoulder to shoulder with our community. We make Shiva calls to grieving families like the Nutras. We travel to Washington, D.C. to advocate for Israel. At North Shore, our goal is to cultivate thoughtful, ethical, and engaged students who stand for Israel with historical awareness and moral courage in a world where truth is so often distorted. Number 3, Israel is more than the Middle East conflict. At North Shore, T through 12, we are careful not to define Israel solely through the lens of conflict, as a nation shaped by war, as a response to the Holocaust, as a refuge from global anti-Semitism. All that's true, but Israel is also a nation of innovation, home to tech pioneers changing the world, creativity, a cultural powerhouse of music and literature and film, diversity, a country woven together by Jews from Ethiopia and Russia and Morocco and Yemen and beyond. We move beyond the headlines, immersing students in the full vibrancy of Israeli life. As a school with both Ashkenazi and Sephardi students, we explore Israel's many cultures and customs and traditions. In one high school Hebrew language course, students actually take a virtual journey along the Israel National Trail, and they learn about its diverse landscapes, its history, its communities. In a course, Contemporary Israeli Cinema, they analyze Israeli society through film, studying how language and politics and culture shape the act of storytelling. Next year, we're going to introduce a Hebrew language course on Israeli music, where students will explore national identity through the lyrics of Israel's greatest songwriters. Israeli music is embedded in our school, deepening Hebrew language fluency, connecting students to its stories. Our choir brings Israeli melodies to life and unites our school in song. A powerful moment last year came when high school students danced and drummed in a drum circle with visiting Israeli refugees from the South. And it just transcended language. It transcended borders. In the classroom, music is a tool for deep connection and learning. Students analyze the poetics of Yishai Ribo's lyrics, exploring how ancient ritual and temple practice in the land continues to shape Israeli modern culture today. And last year, students and parents had the opportunity to experience his music in a special live concert. Israel isn't just something that we read about. It is something that we sing. It is something that we dance to. It's something that we live. By broadening how we teach Israel to include language and culture and the everyday lives of its diverse people, our students see Israel as more than just a place of conflict. It is a dynamic place of creative expression. Number 4, cultivate an interdisciplinary approach. At North Shore, we emphasize both standalone courses on Israel and also integrated curricula. Israel is both a subject of its own, but it's also a recurring theme woven across the student experience. And it begins with morning prayer. We recite prayers for the state of Israel, for the IDF, for the return of the hostages, with most of our 4th and 5th grade students already knowing them by heart. Israel shapes our service projects with monthly elementary school kindness initiatives, honoring those affected by October 7th. Israel is woven into their Bible and Hebrew studies, with middle school Hebrew classes connecting their language learning with the current events. In high school, we've expanded our curriculum to include dedicated units on Zionism throughout our Judaic Studies program. In Talmud, every class this year will study the mitzvah of living in the land. Talmudic texts and commentaries are brought to bear on larger discussions about national identity, about diaspora, giving them tools to approach contemporary debates about aliyah, about settlement, about Jewish nationhood. In Jewish law and thought departments, all of our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students will participate in a 6-week seminar on religious Zionist thought. And they're going to study its great thinkers and its key questions. Is Israel a step towards its redemption? How do religious and secular Zionism connect with one another? Our Bible curriculum is expanding with a new interdisciplinary elective on the books of Ezra and Nehemiah, exploring the return of Zion and the rededication of the Second Temple. But it's not just a course about the Bible. Through an in-depth study, they develop a foundation for understanding modern debates on Jewish statehood and identity. But integrating Israel education at North Shore extends beyond Judaic studies. In history, new projects are now being built where weaving Israeli history in their global history courses. A political science elective is being developed that will explore democracy, comparing the lenses of American democracy with Israeli democracy. In literature, students study Israeli authors and poetry alongside American ones, thanks to a collaboration between the Hebrew language department as well as the English department. A Bible course on rhetoric and oratory examines speeches of our biblical prophets alongside those of our Israeli statesmen and jurists, deepening students' understanding of persuasion and leadership and national discourse. Science and engineering bring Israel to life in our labs. Students recently worked with an Israeli scientist, Dr. Baruch Sturman, to explore techelet, that ancient blue dye worn on tzitzit, connecting Jewish law and chemistry and the history of Israel under Roman rule. Next week, our STEM program will collaborate with Israeli scholar Rabbi Benjamin Zimmerman to guide students in engineering Sabbath-friendly security devices that are used in local synagogues. And this hands-on project explores how Israeli hospitals, how emergency systems develop Sabbath-compliant technology, highlighting the interplay of science and Jewish law in shaping the infrastructure and the security of a sovereign Jewish state. And in this way, by embedding Israel across disciplines like history, like literature, like STEM and chemistry, students see Israel as a hub of culture, a hub of science, a place where technological innovation and religious tradition help shape national Israeli identity. And finally, number 5, meeting the digital age. We're mindful of how our students consume knowledge today. Education in 2025 must extend beyond traditional texts and primary sources. And so we now incorporate new media like podcasts and digital storytelling to meet them where they are, making Israel's complexities accessible and relevant. In our lower schools, students use Israel Link, an interactive digital resource that enhances our Israel studies, multimedia, digital platforms. Students are able to develop a more nuanced and well-rounded perspective. But we also recognize that social media is both a battleground and an opportunity. It's a space where narratives now are shaped and challenged and amplified. And so digital literacy is critical. In the high school, we bring in experts in digital advocacy to combat anti-Semitism and misinformation, workshops and seminars from political scientists, from computer scientists, train our students to identify media bias, understand algorithmic influence, and critically engage with anti-Israel narratives. Students hear from influential voices of content creators who help them navigate influence in digital spaces effectively. Our students are learning to not just consume media critically, they are creating content. They are shaping the conversation in the digital age where advocacy matters there more than ever. While God teaches Abraham that study can substitute for practice, that's only when practice is impossible. When it comes to Israel, we have a living, breathing state. When we have the chance to be there, to walk the land, to build, to learn, to grow, there is no substitute. At North Shore, a year in Israel is a natural next step in our students' lives. More than ever, graduates of North Shore see gap years, yeshivot, midrashot, mechinot, university programs, and even the IDF as opportunities to deepen their connection to Israel. And to support them, we at North Shore have expanded our Israel Guidance Department, offering mentorship and resources and meaningful choices. And even for those who don't spend a year in Israel, our students take their Zionism with them to those college campuses, to their professional fields, and the entire broader Jewish world, equipped with knowledge and confidence in their unwavering commitment for their state of Israel. At our annual dinner last year, we celebrated some of our alumni who are fighting that battle on campus. One of our alumni even testified before Congress and is featured in the new film, October 8th. And so with these 5 core principles, resisting simplistic narratives, teaching ethics and advocacy, seeing Israel beyond conflict, and integrating an interdisciplinary approach in preparing students for this digital age, our approach to Israel education is both intellectual and emotional. It is historical and personal. It is academic and action-driven. And of course, this all depends on exceptional educators. Just as students need the support, so do our teachers. They're not just imparting knowledge. They are guiding students through uncertainty, through resilience, and the challenges of our times. And so we must ensure that they have the support they need to continue leading with passion and with strength. And so we at North Shore invest in our teachers. Because when we invest in our teachers, we strengthen our entire school community. So with these 5 core values, we do more than teach Israel's history. We empower students to shape its present and to determine its future. As God teaches Abraham, through study we not only survive, but we thrive and we build anew.
I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the first Jewish county executive in the history of Nassau County, and he has done incredible things in this community and throughout this county. He is a person who leads with action. He's one of the best listeners you can find. He stands up to people, never backs down, and I don't think that this community has ever had a great friend. And Mr. Mayor, I don't think you will have a better friend in County Executive Bruce Blakeman.
Thank you. First of all, Rabbi, thank you for enlightening us about all the wonderful things that are going on at North Shore, one of the greatest yeshivas in all the world. And I want to thank the Great Neck Synagogue for hosting us tonight. Yaakov Hagoel, thank you, sir, for being with us and all the great work you do for the World Zionist Organization. And everyone from the community, thank you. Mayor Brawl, an amazing man. Thank you, Mayor Brawl, for all you do. My colleagues in government who are here with us today, led by our own IDF paratrooper, Mazi Pilla. How many people can say that? So, Mayor Leon, welcome to Nassau County. Nassau County is home to almost 1.4 million people. We are larger than 10 states in population. But as I told you before on our way in, Nassau County has the third largest Jewish population in the United States. 300,000 people identify themselves as being Jewish in Nassau County. Only Brooklyn and Los Angeles have a greater Jewish population than Nassau County. We are proud. Someday we will overtake them because we are growing, and we are very proud of our Jewish community here and our relationship with Israel. Nassau County, you may not know this, is the home of Ambassador David Friedman. He shares time here, and Yerushalayim goes back and forth. He's from Nassau County. Steve Witkoff, who is the chief negotiator for the Middle East for President Trump, is from Nassau County. The Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, is from Nassau County. The FBI Director, Kash Patel, is from Nassau County. And Lee Zeldin, he's not from Nassau County, but the EPA Administrator, he's from Long Island right next door. So as you can see, we have a very, very illustrious group of people here from Nassau County. And I want to stress one thing. Our relationship with Israel is very, very strong and very personal to all of us. We were the first county to enact anti-BDS legislation. We entered into an agreement with Judea and Samaria, a cooperation agreement. And when we started to draft the legislation, our lawyers came to us and they said, you can't enter into an agreement with Judea and Samaria. I said, why not? They said it would be a violation of international law. I said, in Nassau County, we don't recognize international law. We recognize what is right and what is good. And we entered into that agreement and have that friendship. You probably know our dear friend Yossi Dagan, who came here to sign the agreement. Our bonds with Israel are strong and they are deep. After October 7th, we held a rally here in Nassau County, the largest rally in America. 10,000 people came to Eisenhower Park to rally for support for Israel. We have young people who are lone soldiers that serve in the IDF. And we are so proud that you are here from the most important city in the world to be here, to come here, and to spend your valuable time with the people of Nassau County. I just want to say, Toda Rabbah. May Hashem bless you. May Hashem bless you, Yerushalayim. May Hashem bless the state of Israel. And may Hashem bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I had the great honor, before I introduce her to come up, Mr. Mayor, the county executive, the county legislator, and so many of the people in this room were at UBS Arena. That's right. And for those of you keeping score, I can't tell you what the final score is, but Mr. Mayor, the county executive, and Mazi brought you a lot of luck because the score was 3-2. Jerusalem was up over Tel Aviv. I'm very proud to introduce somebody who needs no introduction to Great Neck. She's going to offer a couple of quick words before we move on to the mayor, our county legislator, Mazi Pilla.
Good evening, Erev Tov. Thank you, Mayor Brawl and Great Neck Synagogue for hosting this important evening. And welcome to the mayor and Yaakov, my friend, to Nassau County. It has been a real pleasure for me to serve the people of Nassau County in the last almost 4 years since I got involved in politics. And in the last year and a half, it has been very challenging for us as a Jewish community. And I can tell you, although we are not in Israel physically, but our heart is in Israel. We think about you every single time. Since October 7, we have been really facing anti-Semitism. We thought after October 7, the world finally saw the evil versus the good. Unfortunately, October 8th, we wake up to a different reality. A reality, not just we are crying for what happened to our people, we have to defend our people here, fighting anti-Semitism. And this has been a really tough time for us, but I can tell you this. We, as a community leaders, we have the obligation to empower our youth. We need to give them the tools they needed to fight this fight. It's not easy to fight this because I have been meeting so many young kids in different universities. I have been rallying with them, and I saw their fear. They are so confused. One of the students I met in Columbia University, she is from Great Neck. And I remember that. I was holding her hands, and she was shaking. And she told me, Mazi, I cannot do that anymore. I have to go back. I'm leaving this place. I told her, you are not going anywhere. You need to fight this. And when University of Stony Brook called me, the professors and the students to come to speak in front of them, they were afraid. They were afraid how they're supposed to deal with this. For me, when it comes to anti-Semitism, it's nothing politics here. We need to do the right things to protect our people. I promised myself, after October 7, I'm not going to be afraid. Yes, I cannot go back to Israel to put the uniform to fight for my country, but I can fight this here from the United States. I decided to go with the biggest Magen David you can ever find. Thanks to Orly, my friend. And I decided to really fight this because there is no way, when history is calling you, you need to put that uniform and fight for your people. There is no way we're going to stay silent. There is no way we're going to be so politically correct. We will be ashamed to defend our country. We know Israel. We know what Israel is about. And I know if you don't grow up in Israel and serve in the army, you don't know the real Israel. But I had the privilege to grow up in Israel, serve in the army, and understand what is Israel. I have the privilege when I go to Haifa University, when I went to Haifa University, 3 of my best friends were Arab Muslims. So when I see here the nonsense talking about Israel is that Israel is an apartheid country and Israel is a genocide country, nobody gonna tell me who Israel is about. As a black, proud Jew, I know what Israel is about. Israel is all about equal rights. Israel will put everything in their power to defend everyone, regardless of your color, your culture, your background. So I know Israel and you know Israel. Our job to give the right tools for our young generation to be proud Jew and fight this fight. And I also want to call you on other things, that you have to be involved in local politics. Enough with nonsense when politicians coming here and promising like they are with us, but when real time comes, they are not on the right side. When we passed the Mass Transparency Act, and thank you to County Executive Bruce Blakeman, not everybody supported us. When I saw terrorist supporters hiding their faces with kafia and intimidating, attacking our Jewish people, I said Nassau County is not happening. Ask yourself, how come in New York State, in New York City, you see those terrorist supporters vandalizing stores, attacking Jewish people left and right, nothing happening. And then when you come to Nassau County, they came a couple of times to rally, but guess what? They followed the rules. Because in Nassau County, we are not playing games. If you want to rally, if you want to... If you want to practice your freedom of speech, go ahead, do it, but show us your faces. It's very simple. We need to be strong. We need to hold accountable the people who are responsible for everything that's happening since October 7. I believe we can do that. We have the obligation, and I'm Israel High, and let's do it. Thank you so much.
It is my honor and privilege today to introduce the next speaker. You know, we have heard many words, the new words, an apartheid state, genocide, and we have heard ethnic cleansing. I want to say that the next mayor that I'm going to introduce, Mayor Moshe Leon, is the mayor of a city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is our city, the undivided capital of Israel, and has 35% Arab people living there with equal rights and have the same job opportunities as everyone else. And ethnic cleansing I think the number of the Arabs have increased in Jerusalem in the past decade or so. So with that said, I would like to introduce Mayor Moshe Leon, the mayor of the undivided capital of Israel and the capital of the Jews. I would like to give one small gift from Great Neck to Mr. Leon. This is presented to the Honorable Mayor of Jerusalem, Mr. Moshe Leon, as a symbol of friendship and unity between Jerusalem and the undivided capital of the Jewish state and the village of Great Neck, Mayor Pedro Ambral.
Bruce Blackman, Country Executive, Mazi Melessa Philip, Country Representative, Dr. Fedram Beral, Mayor of Great Neck, Rabbi Avi Miller, my friend Yaakov Chagwell, Chairman of the World Zionist Organization. Thank you for your wonderful working for Israel. Dear friends, it is a real pleasure to be here with you tonight in this wonderful community. A community who supports Israel and the Jewish people with all their might. We are living in challenging times, but also times where we are privileged to see the resiliency and bravery of the people of Israel. A time when we are already seeing rebuilding and recovery. Since October 7th, Jerusalem has paid a heavy price, just like the whole of the country. We have lost too many loved ones, and we still have hostages waiting to come home. But even in the face of tragedy, we continue to build, to grow, and to keep our people strong. Yes, Jerusalem is seeing a transformation, new housing, and job opportunities, and a booming high-tech sector. Our city is not only the heart of the Jewish people, but also a place of hope and innovation for the future. Jerusalem is not just for the Israelis, it belongs to every Jew around the world. In a physical and spiritual sense, it is our anchor, and I invite you all to come to Jerusalem, visit, and even make it your home. We have no other. Tonight I also want to talk about Zionism, because the very meaning of the word action is Zionism. And Zionism in action is Israel. It is rebuilding and the destroyed communities in the south and the north, supporting the families of hostages. It is working to build a better society and fighting anti-Semitism wherever it appears. It is about making sure that the next generation here in America and across the world knows our history and our mission. That the next generation is proud of their heritage and our traditions. Zionism should not be seen as a dirty word, as we as Jews have a duty to ensure that our future is safe and our future generations are strong. I want to thank the North Shore Hebrew Academy for the incredible dedication to teaching our children to have and embrace a deep understanding of Israel's past, present, and future. And I thank each and every one of you for supporting us. Together, we will continue to strengthen Jerusalem, the eternal capital of the Jewish people. Am Yisrael Chai.
I have the privilege and honor to introduce our next speaker, the chairman of the World Zionist Organization, Mr. Yaakov Hagoel. Just briefly, I want to say the World Zionist Organization started with Theodor Herzl in 1897. And since then, the World Zionist Organization has been there to protect the Jews all over the world. Mr. Hagoel has been a great friend. We met him in Israel, and he was able to give us the proper tour and education of the center. And today he's here to address us in Great Neck. Welcome to Great Neck, Mr. Hagoel, the chairman.
Thank you. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבט אחים גם יחד. אני אדבר בעברית, ורפאל כהן, שהוא מנהל הר הרצל בירושלים, ישתדל לעזור לכם להבין אותי.
Yaakov going to speak in Hebrew. While I'm director of Haaretz in Jerusalem, I will try my best and I will try to make it a bit different. After such a long night.
אנחנו תוך שעתיים הולכים, אז לא
2 hours,
ילחץ.
just sit on your chairs.
כבוד ראש העיר ירושלים, עיר הבירה של העם היהודי, לא רק של מדינת
The
ישראל.
interior capital of the Jewish people.
חברי הטוב, משה ליאון ורעייתו סתווית, ראש העיר גרטנק, דוקטור פדרם, חברי הטוב גם כן, ליז ברני, מנהלת הפרויקטים ב-ZOA,
Stays, highly.
פול ברודרי,
Dr. Paul Brody,
שהוא אחראי על כל הלונג איילנד ב-ZOA גם כן,
president of Long Island area section.
דיר ברוס, מזי היקרה, חבריי, תראו, ב-7 באוקטובר
On October 7,
לא פרצה מלחמה רק נגד מדינת
there
ישראל.
was a war that broke not just against the state of Israel.
ב-7 באוקטובר פרצה מלחמה נגד כל העם
On
היהודי.
October 7, there was a war that broke entirely against the Jewish people in the world.
באותה דקה
At the same moment,
שנפרצו הגדרות, נלחץ המקש Enter על קמפיין אדיר של מאות מיליוני דולרים.
in that moment in the morning of Shabbat, when the walls fell from Gaza, there was entered on an entirely campaign against Israel, the Jewish people.
אנחנו צריכים להבין
You have to realize
שהקמפיין הזה האיר
that that campaign enlightened
תאים אדירים של אנטישמים,
a cell of terrorists around the world,
אבל לא פחות חשוב,
but not less important than that,
יצר נרטיב
create a narrative
אצל אנשים שלא שמעו את המילה יהודי אף פעם,
around people that never heard the word Jew ever.
שלא יודעים איפה זה ישראל,
They never know or visit Israel.
ובאו ויצאו להפגנות לפני כשנה בקמפוסים כאן בארצות
It
הברית.
came a year and a half ago and started to protest here on the campuses here.
אני רוצה לשתף אתכם בדבר שגיליתי לפני מספר שבועות.
I just would like to share with you something that I realized just few weeks ago.
אנחנו אומרים שמאז קום המדינה זו השנה שהיו בה הכי הרבה אירועים אנטישמיים, זו השנה הזאת.
We are saying that from early of the establishment of Israel, this was the worst year regarding anti-Semitic incidents.
אז אני רוצה להגיד לכם שאני גיליתי שהייתה עוד שנה אחת כזאת.
I learned that there was a very similar year.
שימו לב לדמיון.
Just see how it's resemblance.
זו אותה שנה שבה היינו ביהירות.
We were arrogant in that year.
היינו עסוקים
We were busy
בלריב עם עצמנו,
fighting with each other,
והאויב זיהה את זה.
and our enemy realized that.
והאויב פרץ מלחמת הפתעה. השנה
And
הזאת
the
היא
enemy
כמובן,
attacked us surprisingly.
השנה הזאת היא כמובן 1973.
I'm talking, of course, about the year 1973,
מלחמת יום כיפור.
the war of Yom Kippur.
האוקטובר, אותו אוקטובר.
The same October we're talking about.
אנחנו מדברים על כך שבאותה שנה,
On the
לא רק
same year-
הפתיעו אותנו בישראל,
Not just that we've been surprised in Israel,
היה גידול של מאות אחוזים באירועי האנטישמיות באותה שנה בעולם.
increasing of hundreds of percentage of the numbers of incidents of anti-Semitism in the same year, in 1973.
מי שלא מבין
Who doesn't realize that
שמדינת ישראל
the state of Israel
היא הבית של כל היהודים,
is the home of all the people,
לא מבין את המשחק.
doesn't understand the play in the game.
מדינת ישראל
The state of Israel
היא הבית של היהודים שגרים בה.
is the home of the Jewish people, of the people who live there.
היא הבית של היהודים שבעזרת השם עוד יגורו בה.
It's the home of the people that may live in Israel.
והיא גם הבית של היהודים שלא יגורו בה אף פעם.
It's also the home of the people that will never live in Israel.
כל יהודי יכול לבחור איפה הוא יגור.
Every Jew can vote, can choose where he's going to live.
לי ברור לכולנו שהכי טוב זה לגור בבית.
It's clear for me that it's the best thing to live at home.
אבל אם היהודי בוחר לא לגור, האחריות על ביטחונם של היהודים היא לא על היהודים.
But if right now someone decides not to live in Israel,
היא אחריות של הממשל שהיהודים בחרו לגור בו.
who is ever care for his security is the local government, your local government.
ואסור לוותר על זה.
And don't give up about that right.
ואסור לעצום את העין ולהגיד זה המחיר שלנו להיות יהודים.
Don't close your eyes and say this is the price that we should pay as Jews.
כולנו צריכים להרים את הראש בגאווה
We
יהודית.
have to raise our head with a Jewish pride.
כולנו צריכים לחזק את הזהות היהודית שלנו.
We all have to strengthen our Jewish identity.
עם אחד אנחנו.
We are one people.
אני אומר את זה כי אנחנו לפעמים מתבלבלים.
Because we are sometimes a little bit confused.
ואנחנו צריכים לזכור שאנחנו עם שיכול להפוך את השנה וחצי הזאת ממשבר להזדמנות.
We have all to remember that we can have this year from a crisis to opportunity.
וזו המשמרת שלנו.
And this is our shift.
והמשמרת שלנו לא רק ליושב ראש ההסתדרות הציונית העולמית,
And not only for the head of the Zionist movement,
ולא לראשי הערים שכאן,
and for the mayors who are with us here,
אלא לכל אחת
for
ואחד
each of
מאיתנו.
us, each of the individual of us is responsible.
בואו ניקח אחריות.
Let's take this responsibility.
בואו נזכור
Let's remember
שלסבים ולסבתות שלנו
that our grandparents
לא היה בית, לא הייתה
didn't
מדינה.
have a state, didn't have a home.
לנו זה אמור להיות יותר קל.
It's supposed to be a bit easier for us.
אני אומר לכם שזה הזמן של כולנו.
I'm telling you that it's the time of all of us here
להתאחד,
to united,
להתחזק,
to strengthen ourselves,
להתפלל להשבתם של החטופים
to
הביתה
pray for
היום,
the return of the hostages today back home,
להתפלל לרפואה שלמה לחיילי צבא,
praying for the healing,
לפצועי צבא ההגנה
all
לישראל,
the injured IDF soldiers,
כמובן לחזק
and of
את
course
כל
to strengthen
חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל.
the IDF soldier.
אנחנו נמצאים בימים אלה
In those days,
בבחירות
we are facing election
לקונגרס הציוני העולמי.
for the Zionist Congress.
הקונגרס הציוני העולמי זה הפרלמנט של העם היהודי.
The Zionist Congress is the parliament of the Jewish people around the world.
לנו כאזרחים של מדינת ישראל יש לנו זכות וחובה לבחור לפעמים כל שנה.
We, as the Israeli citizens, we have a right to vote, sometimes even once a year.
אתם, האחים שלנו בתפוצות,
You are our brothers.
אין לכם את הזכות הזאת.
He doesn't have the right to vote in Israel.
ויש לכם אחת ל5 שנים
But once every 5 years,
זכות חשובה וחובה גדולה
you have right, and actually you have to
ולהשתתף
to vote once every 5 years.
בבחירות לקונגרס הציוני העולמי.
To be involved and to act and to vote for the Zionist Congress.
הבחירות מתקיימות בימים אלה
The election is happening those days.
עד 4 למאי.
By May 4,
כל יהודי
every Jew
שגר בארצות הברית
who live in the state
יכול וצריך להצביע.
can and need to vote.
אנחנו נמצאים בבחירות מאוד משמעותיות.
We are facing a very meaningful election.
אני קורא לכם להצביע.
Do call upon you and each of you here to
מי
vote.
שמצביע משפיע.
Whoever is vote can make a difference.
אני כמובן חושב
of course, think
שצריך להצביע ולחזק את המפלגות הציוניות והשורשיות
to strengthen the Zionist and the strong movements
שנלחמות באנטישמיות,
against anti-Semitism.
שמחזקות את הזהות היהודית,
We're strengthening the Jewish identity.
שמחזקות את מדינת ישראל כמדינה של העם היהודי.
The Jewish home, the Jewish state as the home of the Jewish people.
אני רוצה בסוף דבריי
Just to conclude, my friends,
לומר לכם שהמפלגה שמייצגת, שאני חלק ממנה,
the party that I'm part of,
שאני מייצג, כמו שאתם יודעים, את הליכוד העולמי,
as you all know, I'm representing the Likud,
המפלגה
International Institute.
שראש הממשלה נתניהו עומד בראשה.
The same party that Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, is standing on the
ופה
top of
אנחנו,
it.
כן, כן. ופה אנחנו חלק מקואליציה,
And here we are part of coalition,
קואליציה מדהימה,
amazing coalition.
של ZOA, Zionist Organization of America, Slate 15, it's in English,
I
אוקיי.
don't need to translate.
ואני אומר את זה כי גם ראש העיר
Sharing
פדרן
that also because
הוא חלק
Dr. Pedram is part of
חלק
our group.
חשוב מהרשימה שלנו,
Very important part of our group.
כציוני, כמנהיג,
Zionist, as a leader.
ואנחנו, אני רוצה לומר לך, אדוני ראש העיר משה ליאון,
Mayor,
שה-ZOA, אחת הזכויות הגדולות של
one of the
ה-ZOA,
privilege of the ZOA, the Zionist Organization of
אחד
America,
ההישגים הגדולים
one of the
שלהם,
biggest achievements of the
שכולם
ZOA,
זלזלו בזה,
when everyone
וכולם
didn't believe,
אמרו שזה לא יכול להיות.
everyone said it cannot happen,
בזכות ה-ZOA,
thanks to the ZOA,
הממשל
the government
בארצות הברית
in the state
החליט על העברת השגרירות
made a
מתל אביב
decision
לירושלים.
to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
יש לי את הכבוד להיות חלק
I had the privilege to be part
מהקואליציה החשובה הזו.
of this very important coalition.
אני קורא לכל אחת
I'm calling
ואחת
upon
מכם,
each of you here,
שאתם מסיימים פה היום,
when you are finishing here,
תיכנסו לאתר של ה-AZN,
please go to the AZM website.
American Zionist Movement. צריך מכם 5 דקות,
We need from you 5 minutes,
$5,
$5.
ואנחנו נקבע את ה5 שנים הבאות,
We're going to make the next 5 years
האם האג'נדה שלנו, סדר היום
what's
שלנו,
going to be the agenda, what's going to be the setting for the next 5
יהיה
years.
תמיכה במדינת
Either
ישראל,
it's going to be supporting Israel,
חיזוק עם ישראל,
strengthening the people of Israel,
או כל מיני דברים פרוגרסיביים
or any
אחרים.
kind of variety of progressive agendas.
שיהיה לנו רק טוב,
Hope for good for all of you.
ושנרים את הראש בגאווה
Let's
יהודית.
raise our head with Jewish pride.
תודה רבה. This from Jerusalem. It's Hamza, no? נגד עין הרע.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I would like to thank, please, let's give a round of applause to the Mayor of Jerusalem. Come on, a great neck round of applause.